So today I want to go into we want to move a step further in the in in the series. Um, Wealth Unleashed webinar was designed purely to help um, everyone on their journey to financial freedom and on their journey to the wealthy place. And so most of the principles, concepts, ideas, and of course, many of my lessons, stories, experiences are some of the things that we drop here. And it's been a bit since we had our last session, particularly in the month of December. And now we're just resuming. It's been hectic. It's been hectic here since the new year. And I just felt it was necessary for me to come back and then continue from where we left it. All right. So I'm hoping that we will derive as much value um, from just as the previous edition. So to make progress, we want to look at seductive goal setting. And I chose that particular subject. Um, this financial freedom program or Wealth Unleashed webinar is a curriculum, and I often share at the Financial Freedom Masterclass. And I just thought that it would be necessary to just take them one another and begin to take people, and all of this is for free. So we're looking at seductive goal sets, and there's no better time to actually share this than at a time when the new year is just commencing. So you'll find it relevant all year round. You'll find it relevant in every area of your life, and then even beyond 2024. All right, so let's get into goal setting. And I said seductive goal setting. Good to have you all here. Happy New Year. I'm seeing Mr. Michael Ogunfora. Good to have you, sir. All right, so permit me to just get right into the subject of the day. Just a second. Yeah, good. All right. There is a saying, a very popular saying by Greg Reed. And that saying, the guy said something that I consider very, very, very useful, very, very valuable. And if you are in doubt what the exact definitions are, I'm sure that you'll find what the definition of a goal is in this particular saying. Good evening, Mr. Joseph Olukayode. Good to have you, sir. All right. And Gregory said, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. And he said, a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. And then he said, a plan backed by action makes your dream come true. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. And a plan backed by action is what makes your dream to come true. Now, I need to quickly state this categorically. From this saying, it therefore means that a goal is simply a dream written down with a date. That's what it simply means. So if I ask you what exactly is a goal, then you're saying, audio, please, you're not hearing. This is the highest volume. Please, can you can everyone else confirm that you can hear me or not hear me? Please, can you confirm, please? Confirm to me that you can hear me or not hear me, please. Oh, excellent. Excellent. So Mr. Michael, maybe you should sign out and then sign in again. Maybe you should sign out and sign in again. I guess it must be a network issue from your end. All right, good. Thank you very much, everyone, for confirming that you can hear me. Awesome. So a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. In other words, a goal is simply a dream that you have that you write down and attach a date to it. So it therefore means that you don't yet have a goal except it is documented. A goal documented is what concretizes the goal. Every goal that is not written down is an unserious goal. Every goal that is not written down is not concrete. So you concretize your goal whenever you write it down. And more importantly, you tie it to a date. And then from this sage also, we learned that A, a goal broken down into steps is what becomes a plan. In other words, when you are thinking of what exactly is a plan is simply a broken down goal or a goal broken down into steps, a goal that is broken down into steps. So I want to make $1 million this year. All right, that is a goal. By the end of this year, I would have made, or I would have made $1 million, right? So that is a goal because you've set a timeline. It's very clear on exactly what you want to achieve. But beyond that, and of course, you've written it down. But beyond that, breaking it down into steps is what turns it into a plan. And like I've shared in some of my, webinars and sessions here and there, that the idea behind a plan is that for every goal, you now curate set of activities, tasks, daily activities that will facilitate the realization of that goal. This is so important. This is so important. So, what am I going to do each day to achieve that goal? What steps am I going to take each day to achieve that goal? And you would agree with me that when it comes to creating wealth, financial goals, and all of those things, you certainly need to be very, very clear on the set of activities that will bring them to pass. And of course, good evening, ma'am. Good to have you, ma'am. This is Deborah Cole. Thank you very much for joining. All right. So what you will now find again, according to that quotable quote by Greg Reed, is that then a plan backed by action is eventually what brings your dream to life. So every object remains in a state of inertia until force is applied. Like my mentor would always say, 1,000 good intentions are not as powerful as one action. All right. And the world does not recognize you for goals that you set. They only recognize you for goals that you scored, the goals that you acted upon, and of course, scored. All right. And that's pretty much the way it works. Life will test your resilience, life will test your convictions. And that's why occasionally, even after you have set all the goals, you set all the plans, you put all the structures in place, you still encounter setbacks one after another occasionally. The idea is to check whether you truly are convinced about your vision, about your dream. All right. And that's why too many people quit too soon. And that's why I always end my videos and my training sometimes I end it with quitters never win and winners never quit. So stay inspired till you succeed. The idea is if everyone that dreamt, never encountered setbacks occasionally, all of us will have been successful. But the people who pull through and recognize that it's only a bend, it's not an end, are the ones who keep mounting the pressure and keep taking steps and keep devising new ways, newer ways, smarter ways of how can I get it done. All right. In my very short life, I've experienced all sorts. And if I'm to document my challenges and things I've been through in life, right? We will have volume 1000. And I'm sure that some of you here too have similar experiences. Either you have family challenges or financial challenges or business challenge or career challenge or academic challenge here and there. All of us have one but here or there. All right. But what is critical is that you keep devising ways and keep, pressing on, recognizing that it's only a bend and not the end. Now, goal setting is one of the habits of champions. Hardly would you find anyone who is truly successful in this life, right? Who don't set goals. They may not teach it. They may not have been able to even word what they are doing, but exactly that's what it is, right? Most successful people, everyone you know that is successful, that is have achieved wealth, or that is going to achieve wealth, have a sense of mission, have a sense of direction, have a sense of discipline. They have a sense of responsibility occasioned by specific targets that must be met. Largely because not only will it bring them some sense of fulfillment and achievement, it will also help them to fulfill specific obligations. There are many things that are tied to you, and if you don't achieve your goals, it can affect those things. So it's important to set goals, and that's why champions set set goals. But my goal is not to share with you why to set goals. I actually did a series towards the end of last year in our church, and I made sure that it was available on my YouTube channel. So you want to do well also to go watch that after this particular one. I would recommend you go watch it. It was detailed, and I spanned over like 4 weeks or so. All right, so I would recommend you go watch those videos. So today I want to look at some aspects of goal setting. Some of us are already familiar with SMART way of setting goals. The SMART is a concept known as um, SMART, is an acronym for S meaning specific, M meaning measurable, A meaning attainable, R meaning realistic, T meaning time bound. And so for your goals to be achieved, it has to meet those 5 critical criteria, right? One is it must be specific, all right? Nothing becomes dynamic until it becomes specific. And you can't improve on an ambiguous goal. So the clearer your goal, the more specific your goal, the easier it is for you to achieve them. Then M, measurable. Goals have to be quantifiable in order for you to measure progress. So whatever goals you are setting, you can't leave it. It has to be quantifiable. It has to be measurable. So how many? Don't just say I want to be blessed. So be clear and it must be measurable. That must meet that criteria. Number 3 is it must be achievable or attainable. And then when we say it must be achievable or attainable, what exactly do we mean? We simply mean that based on your experience, based on your capacity, based on your antecedents, based on the resources available to you, your skill, your level of training, and all of that, your network, this is very achievable. There were goals I set 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that when I look back, I just think about what type of a person set that goal. And it speaks to the fact that your goal cannot be better than you. All right, the extent. So what makes a goal, what was not achievable to me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, is certainly now achievable to me now. And it's also a testament to the fact that you're actually growing. All right. So as you grow your network, you grow in your skill and competence, you grow in capacity. It helps significantly in the way and manner you deliver on those goals, whether or not the goal is achievable or not. Okay. Now, next one is realistic. So when you set a goal, the goal is, now let me put it this way, it will be unrealistic, right, to set and achieve goals never achieved before with the same old strategy. It will be unrealistic to set and achieve a goal never achieved before with the same old strategy, with the same old tools. All right. So a goal will be set to be unrealistic if you are setting the same. Let's assume, for example, you run a barbering salon, or you run a hair salon, or you run a real estate business, and your entire business is you've never done a billion in turnover before. But this year you are setting a billion naira turnover for the year. Yet you want to continue to operate the same way you have been operating before. It will be unrealistic to set this new goal of 1 billion, right, with the same old strategy. Can I shock you another one? With the same old set of people, all right, with the old set of network, with the old set of skills or ideas or concepts or systems. You need superior, right, superior skills, superior network, superior resources, to deliver on that target, because you've never achieved it before. And so if you must achieve it this time, right, you need to deploy something you've never deployed before. So a goal will certainly be considered unrealistic if you are trying to use old strategy, old ways of doing things. And then finally, it must be time bound. All right. Otherwise, you just keep pursuing it endlessly. So it has to be time bound. Goals need to have deadlines. This is important because it creates momentum. It generates the impetus to pursue. All right. And so you just don't just continue to gallivant all over the place, but you have a sense of purpose, you have a sense of mission, you recognize that time is not on your side and time is ticking. All right. So that gives you a sense of urgency also. All right. That's why it has to be time bound. Okay. But let me quickly put a caveat here. From experience and from the lessons and studies and my research, I found that over the years, even me, I've overestimated what I can accomplish in 1 year and often underestimated what I can accomplish in 5 or 10 years. So my recommendation is while you are setting goals for short-term goals, keep them extremely realistic and then make them fewer as much as possible. Design your short-term goals in such a way that it is to help the long-term goal, your mid-term and long-term goal. Design and set your short-term goals in such a way that number one, they are fewer in number, if possible, just one thing. This one thing I do, forgetting those things that are behind, reaching for those things that are before me or ahead of me. All right. So I want to recommend that you make it fewer. If possible, just keep it one. Just one thing you want to achieve this year that will help you fulfill all other goals and help you achieve your midterm and long-term goals. You know fully well that once this is achieved, it will take care of all of these things. It will help you to set the tone for the next 3, 5, 10 years and more. Right? So that's very, very important. So that while you are setting, you are ensuring that your goals are time bound, you're also not putting yourself under undue pressure. This is so important. Um, there is always a next level, but that can't be determined except there is an old level. So between this and this, so that's why we just use calendar. So your calendar, your own um, calendar year may not even have started yet. Some people may have even started since 2023. All right. For some people, it is in February that their new year will start. Right. So it's important to know when is your own 1 year starting, when is your own 2 years starting, and on and on. And note this: the day you wake up is when your own morning starts. So just get started and then make sure that you set timelines and then make sure that you don't create things that you know you've never accomplished before. So that's the concept behind the um, smart way of setting goals. Now, my focus today is actually on seductive goal setting, and I want to talk about that in relation to achieving your financial targets this year. I want to talk about that in relation to your financial target this year. So let us talk about seductive goal. Many years ago, I told a story. Many years ago, just driving. It's been my habit every year. The last quarter of each year is when I usually put my papers and put my that's when I do the review for the outgoing year and I begin to plan for the new year. So I usually set my goals for the following year, towards the end of the preceding year. And for several years, if not decades now, like 2 decades, I realized that by the time I'm preparing my goals for the new year, the goals are usually very lengthy, very, very, very long. And sometimes by the time you're already to the end of first quarter, you're really forgotten or you're even confused and you don't even know which one to chase after. So this early morning, I was going to my office several years ago. This should be like 8 years ago, so 7 years ago, thereabout. And it just occurred to me that is there any of those goals that I've listed? Sometimes I could have up to 36 items listed to be achieved. Sometimes I could have 27 for a whole year that these are the things I want to accomplish and I want to achieve. And it also forms more or less like a prayer covering or prayer agenda for the year. But I get lost somewhere along the line and then maybe only achieve a few of those items. So that morning, it occurred to me, just came um, like a very strong impression, like it was a light bulb moment for me. It's like, is there one or two of those goals that once achieved will drive all other goals? And that was when it occurred to me that, of the truth, if I look closely into all the long list I prepared, there are a few of those goals that once achieved, several other goals that I have also documented will easily be taken care of. It was then I began to ask myself, what then do I call this? All right. Then the concept began like, okay, there are primary goals, there are secondary goals, there are tertiary goals. Your primary goals are goals that once it is achieved, it will take care of your secondary goals. and then secondary goals. That was when I began to develop the idea and then began to document it. And then one morning, it just hit me like this is a seductive goal. Now, when you write down a goal and it does not generate energy inside of you, that goal is not going to come to life. It's not going to be accomplished. If you write down your goals and you can, while writing it, you know the things that are at stake, you know the things that can go wrong, you know the things that can go right, then it has a way to fuel your level of commitment. Now, I'm not going to be talking to business people here who run organizations, but one thing I've also found out is that it's possible for you to write down goals, even for your businesses or for your organizations, and not be successful at institutionalizing it as a seductive goal. So, because it may be a seductive goal for you, but if you lack leadership skills, you might not be able to generate the same level of energy in the hearts of the team that are working with you. And that's another story for another day. Clearly not for today. But at least on a personal level, if you can accomplish this, it will go a long way. It will help you move the needle. So that was how I came to the subject of seductive goal setting. And for those of you who may not yet have my book, Financial Freedom Master Guide, this is the copy of the book, and there's a chapter here that is dedicated to seductive goal setting. Powerful, powerful book, powerful material. If you live or work in Nigeria, this book is available. You can call the number 070-8797-0441 to place order and can be delivered to you anywhere in Nigeria. But if you live or work outside of Nigeria, you can place order on Amazon, right? If you live or work outside of Nigeria. And it's a brilliant and fantastic book you can gift to people you genuinely care about, right? So back to what I was saying. So then it occurred to me that, okay, so the perfect illustration I usually give to help people understand this concept of seductive goal setting is a young man who is of marriageable age and is a graduate and of course does not have a job and currently caught with a friend or uncle. Now, if that person is going to set three different goals, number one, let's say assume that he's setting the goal to get married, and he has a goal to get a job, and he has a goal to get an apartment because he's currently squatting, even though he's of marriageable age and he's graduate, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a wife, or he doesn't have a spouse, and he doesn't have an apartment. Which of these three items, goal items, will you consider a seductive goal? Now, before you answer that question, let me define exactly what a seductive goal really is. And I want you to go on with this concept. Let this inform the way you think about your plans and your goals for this year. The first one is a seductive goal is a goal that once achieved drives all other goals. A seductive goal is a goal once achieved drives all other goals. So that is the first way to see a seductive goal. So if you write down a goal and you can't see other things that are tied to the fulfillment of this goal, that goal is it's not likely to be a seductive goal. The second definition I will give you is that a seductive goal is an alluring goal. It's a goal that woos you. It compels you to perform on its own accord. So whenever you write down a goal and it does not generate the needed impetus, the energy to perform, that is not likely a seductive goal. So it's an alluring goal, it's a goal that woos you, it's a goal that seduces you, right? That it pulls you in the direction of your goals. So you have no choice. All this one that you set alarm and you still wake up after the alarm come on, you switch off, you stop the alarm from making noise and all of that. No, when you set a seductive goal, it compels you. You have your own alarm system in your body will wake you up when it's time for you to get certain things done. All right, so that's extremely very, very important. So it's a goal that once achieved drives all other goals, and it's an alluring goal that woos you, it compels you, drives you to perform. Now, there are two important questions. So, in other words, based on this definition of what a seductive goal is, what will be the seductive goal for that young man who is of marriageable age, a graduate, but he has no job, he has no apartment, and he has no spouse? What do you think would be the ideal targets, the seductive goal in these three goal items? Can you tell me if you understand what I've said. Can I see you? Waiting for your comments. All right. Okay, to get a job. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. So the job becomes, oh, somebody said get a spouse. Okay, that's another school of thoughts. So rarely would you prioritize spouse over getting a job. Um, you know, but someone had given me that kind of response before and explained why getting a spouse can be the practical solution and can be the seductive goal. And that was very humorous though. But I would recommend that approach for anyone, even though it sounds logical. And the explanation is that if the person you want to get married to is richer than you, earns better than you, already has a house, all right, and even has a business that can employ you, that can can employ you and can give you already have automatic house, and then you have wife automatically. It's only for you to agree to marry, and then you have this other two. There are families where the father of the lady is saying, "Sorry, if you can work for me, my daughter is your wife, you automatically be the MD of the company or one of the subsidiaries." Things like that do happen. But logically speaking and responsibly speaking, that is not a route we promote here. So the most seductive goal in all of these items will therefore be to first and foremost get a job. And so the job hunting should be priority number one and should take his whole energy. Now, while he's writing that goal, there's something that will be leaping inside of him. That goal will compel him to perform. He knows fully well that once he's able to start making the good income, he can then power his ability to rent an apartment and then can proceed with plans to get married. All right, so he can start a relationship, but it does not qualify to get married. He can start a relationship the moment he gets a job, or even before he gets a job, because again, this is not a relationship webinar, but it's important to state that sometimes the best time to know your true friends are in your lowest moments of life. All right, in your moments of adversity. Okay, so that's the best time to know your true friends. So it may not be out of place for somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with, because sometimes people are looking, some ladies may be looking for cars, for a guy with who has car, who has three-bedroom flats, right? And not a guy with a vision, not a guy with goals, not a guy with values, right? And so it's important to also help you to sit. But the moment you start doing well, it may be another very bad place to make that decision, because you never can tell who loves you for you, but just for what you have. So that is for relationship purpose. So we agree that getting a job is the seductive goal here, and then getting an apartment will come next, and then on and on. So there are two important questions. Now follow me carefully, and I'm going to get into the financial element of seductive goal because it's important in your journey to achieving and creating wealth. Um, Two important questions you need to ask to qualify a goal as a seductive goal. Number one is, what will go wrong if you don't achieve that goal? What will go wrong? For that young man, if he's not able to get a job, is most likely his vision and dream of getting married may be delayed or postponed. His dream of getting, you know, um, his dream of, getting an apartment may be postponed or delayed also. So what will go wrong? You have to be able to pinpoint exactly what will go wrong. Number two question you need to ask yourself is, what will go right? Now, what will go wrong speaks to pain. What will go right speaks to pleasure. I've said this countless times. As human beings, we are motivated by pain or pleasure. We are motivated by pain or pleasure. We are either running away from something or running towards something. So it's important to clearly define what can go wrong and define what can go right. Okay? So what will go wrong is the pain, is the shame, is the reproach, is the embarrassment, right? That comes as a result of not achieving your number one goal. And then number two is what will go right. What will go right there is talking about pleasure, talking about comfort. Okay. So by the time you get a job, or your ability to get a job will enable you to own your own apartment. You own the roof over your head. You are not answerable to anybody any longer. You now control your space. You determine when you come, you determine when you go out. And that is also a thing of joy. All right. This is very, very powerful and very, very potent. Next important thing here is to share with you on how this seductive goal tied to your financial well-being. Now, when you are setting financial goals, these two questions also play critical role. And so this is the way I often share it. Recognize what can go wrong as your obligations. And that speaks to things that whether you make money or you don't make money, you must fulfill them. For example, if you live in an apartment that is not your own, you certainly pay rent. So rent is constant. Um, if you have children in school, right? School fees is constant every three months or every 4 months, depending on the calendar, school calendar. All right, you will pay school fees. If you have aged parents that need medical attention from time to time, um, that is also extremely crucial. You must take care of that as an obligation, right? If it's a monthly checkup or monthly doctor medical attention that is required, there's a cost to it and it's not yours. You have to pay for it, right? You pay for those services. So the point is that those are obligations. So every time you are setting a financial goal, the best way to determine how much should be your financial target or how much should be your financial goal, the best way to assess it is to enumerate the list of all the items that make up your obligations, because your inability to achieve your goal that year will frustrate your ability to fulfill those obligations. Very, very, very important. So if you are a businessman, you are owing people, you list out all the debts. If you are owing bank, you are owing customer, you are owing investor, you list it out. If you are an individual, you are owing people, or you have debts, interest-based bearing debt, you have all sorts, you list them out there. All right. Those are your obligations. And then in order, because you see, if you just set any goal and you don't tie it like this, number one, you will just create, number one, you won't have the momentum, you won't have the sense of urgency to do whatever it is you need to do. There are decisions, tough decisions you will need to take. Now, when most CEOs and business owners and entrepreneurs are making tough decisions, sometimes it is because of what is at stake, right? It's because of what can go wrong. And now a lot of people get emotional and just say, oh, why is it doing like that? Why is it behaving like that? You are not in these shoes. You are not in our shoes. All right. And you see, that's a story for another day. Maybe some other time I'm going to go deeper into some other conversation. But for the purpose of this particular lecture, to ascertain what your financial target for the year should really be, right? You don't just say, I want to make 100 million. As what? As what? Don't just say, I want to make 100 million. I want to make 1 million. I want to make 2 billion. I want to earn 30 billion. Don't just quote figures like that. The way that goal will compel you to pursue or perform is when it is tied to a set of obligations. So that's very, very, very important. That's number one. Now, to set clear financial targets or set clear financial goals, the next one you want to evaluate is to list out the things that will go right. And I call those ones your aspirations, obligations, aspirations. Are you seeing I'm tying your seductive goal to financial goals now? I'm tying it to your financial goals. This is so important because whenever I teach on this subject, it looks like, okay, this thing is not so practical or it's not applicable. But this is exactly the way it is. You and I know that, okay, if you list out all the obligations that you have and you list out all the things that will go right, the things that can go right that represent your aspirations could be, oh, getting the car, getting a second car, or getting a car for your spouse. Maybe you already have a car, but you want your wife to also have to have her own car as well, or maybe you want to move to your own house. You want to build your own house. So you set goals, specific goals. Yes, buying a house, considering your current source of or sources of income, may not be realistic, but you can say, okay, I will buy land this year. So that can be part of the goals that you will set. All right. Buying a second car may not make any sense because it comes at a cost, maintenance cost, and all of that. You just look at them. Maybe you want to go for your PhD program. All right. Maybe you want to go for you know, you want to get registered on that for an executive coaching program, and you know that to bring you some levels of association. Maybe you want to become a member of a global association that you know it will give you access to high net worth individuals, global and global stars, and all of that. That is an aspiration that is not out of place. You notice that, and you put a figure to it. Now, your assignment and your responsibility is to add up all your obligations, add up all your aspirations. When you add them all up and sum it together, you get a sense of what your financial target for that year would be. And because it is tied to something that can go wrong and it is tied to something that can go right, it compels you to perform. And that's what really makes it a seductive goal. You know fully well that once this is achieved, once this target is met, it will take care of this, it will take care of that. And then you will live a richer and more fulfilling life. And then when someone is manufacturing excuses for you, you will know that, man, those guys don't know what is at stake, right? Or these people may not be aware of what is really, really at stake. I want to believe that this has been helpful. If you have any question, I'll be very delighted to take those questions. To wrap up this, before I take questions, I will be wrapping up shortly. Let me just go through in summary um, how to set and score your goals. How to set and score your goals. Just 7 simple steps, right? Once you have set these goals, the next important thing you want to do, once you have done these first practical sessions, you've done that yourself. The next important thing you want to do is to follow these simple steps. It will go a long way to help you to constantly score goals. Apart from setting seductive goals, follow these simple steps to go a long way. Number one is to write it down. Write it. The first physical expression for every goal that you have is when it is written down. It has been established by psychologists that the when your goal is written down, 50% of it is already accomplished. So that's very, very, very important. So an unwritten goal is an unserious goal. You are not a serious person if you don't document your goal. Number two, plan it. Like we shared in the beginning, a goal written down with a date. Sorry, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. So break down your goal into steps. So if you say you want to make $1.2 million, it means each month you need to generate $100,000. If you say you want to produce, you want to sell 1,000 pieces of your products, right? Or 1,200 pieces of your product, it means that every month you must sell 100 pieces. So it gives you a sense of urgency that this is what must be done. So you now break it down. So what are the set of activities? Who are you going to call? Who are you going to bring on your team? Right? Who are you going to network with? What alliances are you going to forge? What new softwares? What new solutions? What new expertise are you going to bring on your team to facilitate the realization of that goal? So those sets of activities and tasks is what will fuel, and those are the things you call a plan. All right. So strategies, strategize, outline all the activities, all the steps you would take to achieve that particular goal. And then you can also glean from other people's success stories, right? What did you guys do to help you achieve this, and all of that. Number three, you pursue it. So once you have drafted a plan, the next important thing is to execute. Execution is the mother of strategy. So every object remains in a state of inertia until force is applied. Okay, so you want to pursue, you want to achieve, you want to execute, you want to action your plan. And that's very, very, very important. 1,000 good intentions, like I shared with us, are not as powerful as one good action. So take steps. Sometimes the reason why people suffer from inertia is because they're afraid to fail. But listen to me carefully. There are lessons you will never learn except you act, right? There are lessons you will never learn except you execute. And then you are way ahead of people who have never taken steps before. So this is extremely important. Number four is achieve it. Once you action your plan, the next automatic thing that will happen is result. All right. Action will always inspire achievement. So even if it is not to the level you anticipated, you still have made progress, right? Someone said, and I quote, if you cannot fly, he said, run. If you cannot run, he said, walk. If you cannot walk, he said, crawl. Just make sure you are moving. Take baby steps. It's very, very, very important because when you do so, right, that is essentially how you inspire achievement. You never can tell who is watching and who is looking to see who can they form alliances with, right? A friend recently was on an interview and was sharing how that they were serving somewhere, serving a relationship, and then the person connected them to someone, and the person says, "Hey, I'm old now, but I have this 500 acres somewhere. I cannot go and do the job myself. I cannot face the work, but I trust you people." And handed over 500-acre worth of property with title, with everything, handed it over to them. If they were not acting on their dreams, acting on their goals, there's no one that will see you and say, "We just give you 100." It will just fall on your laps. So you have to, um, plan it, but more importantly, action it. And when you act upon your goals, right, and you act upon your plans, what eventually happens is that you inspire achievement with the right strategy, the periodic evaluation, innovation, and action. Achievement is just within your reach. So even if you meet with a brick wall, you go back to your drawing board, you re-strategize. Okay, what more can I do? What new steps do we need to take? What new alliance do we need to forge? And that's pretty much the way it is. Number five is maintain it, right? There are many people who achieve championship level, but they don't maintain it. And so nobody even hear about them, nobody gets to know about them. So some people achieve their goals, but don't sustain it, and you don't want to be that. Right? You want to sustain your championship level. Now, it is important to state this. It is more difficult to sustain than to achieve it. And as I say it all the time, it is better to be poor, hoping to be rich, than to be rich and be poor again. It is not a place you want to be. So you want to maintain it. You want to diversify. You want to strengthen the sources of revenue, um, and all of that. So keep sustaining the momentum you started with, whatever helped you, whatever daily ritual or daily routine that helped you to achieve it in the first instance. You want to sustain it. You want to keep at it. You want to keep pushing and all of that. Okay? So keep doing the same thing that brought you the level of results you initially attained. And then number six, grow it. Grow it. You want to constantly nurture and continue to expand. Like I said, you can leverage your past successes. I mean, if you've ever done anything before, you said if you go and look at some of the goals you set 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, and you compare the goals that you're setting now, you know that something has shifted, right? It's a sign that you are growing. Now, more importantly here, what we're simply saying is that you want to leverage your previous goals. You want to leverage your past achievements, right, to build new ones, all right? You want to build on what you have done before. This is the secret behind the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. The rich keep getting richer because whenever they achieve something, they leverage it to move new frontiers and on and on. All right. They use that to leverage, they leverage that to scale new heights. And so this is so important. So grow it, grow it. Don't just remain there because your own appetite, your own desires, your own dreams, once achieved, you start yearning for more. You start yearning for newer things. And that's the nature of man. That's why man is basic economics. Human needs are insatiable. This is the reason for it. So someone who was hoping that one day, once I have a car like this, my life is good. Once I have this job, but you achieve, you get the job, you get the car, you marry the wife, and then 1 year down the line, you feel dissatisfied. You are looking for more, wishing for more. So that's why you need to keep growing it and keep improving again and again. And finally, you want to share it. Your highest level of fulfillment will not come from accumulation. It will come from sharing it. To come from sharing your experiences, sharing your knowledge. This is the one reason why I do what I do, right? This is the reason why I wrote books. I do the things I do, right? Share it. Um, I actually have a plan later this year, uh, maybe February or February, to just unfold 10 entrepreneurs. You have a business, not that you are planning to start a business. You have a business, and I'm sharing this because it touches on this. You have a business and you want to scale, you want to grow, you want to build resources, you want to build the right structure, you need help, in one way or another. Um, and you've done quite a lot of things, and you've succeeded at some, and you've failed at several things, right? I've also failed at so many things, and I've also succeeded at a number of things as well. And there are some things I will never share in the public domain, but I just want to do that with these 10 people. But note this, my purpose of sharing this is not for anybody to think that this is not, my schedule is crazy. To tell you that my schedule is crazy is even an understatement. But I consider it an obligation. I consider it a responsibility for others to share from some of my pains, some of my challenges, so that they don't have to make the same mistake. Now, it's just for 10 people. I'm going to unhold you for 6 months, right? Would have one on one. That's why I'm keeping it just on 10. I'm going to unhold you and I'm going to just work with you and I'm going to expose things that, that you never find in any book. You will not find it anywhere. You won't find it on any internet platform. All right. It's just going to be between you. And then will also have group sessions as well. But within the 6 months, you yourself will know that you are clear. You have clarity. You have the accountability to keep pushing you to achieve your success. So if you are interested, just send interested, right? It's for CEOs, for entrepreneurs. So just type interested CEO coaching. All right. Just type CEO coaching interested to 07087970441. And you get the quotes. And then you fill some application form. We'll know whether you really qualify. Because if you don't qualify, I'm sorry, I don't mind doing it for one person, and I'm not under obligation. I'm not under pressure. It's not something that it's my source of income. No, no, no. I just want to make sure I pour into other people. And there are steps, there are things that if I were to do it again, this is how I'm going to do it. That's what I want to do with you. So it is not cheap, it is not free. So take note of that. But you have to apply before, and interested just to know the people who are going to contact. And then if you know anyone who is in business, right, and then probably struggling and all that, because listen, this year is also going to be very challenging. I mean, there's no year that's not going to be come with its own peculiar challenges, right? There's global inflation, deflation, hyperinflation here and there, and even the currency all over the world is being devalued again and again, right? Prices of goods and services are rising by the hour, by the minute, right? Human needs are also getting more and more insatiable. So whether you like it or not, there are things that no matter how hard you try, you still not be able to please people. So you still have to, there are many, many tough decisions. So I recommend you apply, but you are not under obligation. So please, I will not even mind if just one person is fine. So once the application closes, then I shut the door and then I just give that attention to that person. No matter what my schedule is, that those people, those category of people are just going to be my inner circle, and I'm going to give them everything that I would do differently if I were to start afresh. It's from my business lessons archive, right? From hiring to investing to projects to people management to networking to everything to financial management, both personal business to decision making, right? To many, many dimensions of business that we're going to be discussing. And I'll tell you stories. Stories. You will learn a lot. And of course, I'll be your accountability partner. So when I see you trying to follow the same thing I've done before, I just tell you, Omo, come back. So I can pull you. So I'll be your one-on-one. I'll be your direct coach. All right. So we'll be having more group coaching sessions, more of group coaching sessions because there are a lot who also benefit from one another. Okay. So that will be it. So talking about sharing it, that is how you give back to the society. That is how you share knowledge, experiences, and resources to mentor the next generation. Right. We don't need to repeat evil history. We don't need to repeat other people's mistakes if we learn to share, with other people. And of course, not everybody. People pay attention when they pay, and that's the reason for that. And I don't just want crowd. That's pretty much why we're putting it this way. Now, understand this: a success without a successor is a successful failure, right? And your highest fulfillment does not come from what you accumulate; it comes from your contribution, comes from your donation, right? So take note of that. If it all ends with you, then you have just failed a whole generation, and that's why you have to make sure that in setting your goals, whatever goals, particularly if it is financial, make sure that you also have a plan to also donate to your world. You also be a blessing to other people. The ultimate plan of God is not to bless us, is to make us a blessing. I want to believe that this has been helpful. If you have any question, please send those questions to 07087970441, and I'll be taking those questions out of this session. Maybe we'll start with those questions next week, and then before we get into the lecture, or we take them together. So thank you very much. If you're not following me on YouTube, you want to do so right away at Oladipo Boklem. You're not following me on Instagram, TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, you want to do so right away at Oladipo Boklem on all of those platforms. So till I come your way again, always remember winners don't quit and quitters never win. So stay inspired till you succeed. Bye for now. So do you have questions? If you have any comments, we can take them today. So you can send them because our time is fast spent already. But I want to believe that I've added value. I want to believe that you have delivered something. All right.